Hello, I'm Vincent.
And I'm Andrew.
We're reviewing lots from our June 2024 public auction, that's Cheshire Stamp Auctions. We got talking about forgeries, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
It's one of the things you get asked about. It's one of the few things that people know to ask about if you tell them what you do for a living. And you try and explain there are essentially two different types of forgeries in the world of philately. One of them is the type to fool the post office at the time. We've seen a lot in the news about modern British stamps being faked in China at the moment, but there is a history in various countries of people trying to fake stamps for use, and the other type is for collectors. Back in the more I don't know, not naive days, but certainly in the earlier periods of philately, people were more happy to actually purchase stamps knowing they were forgeries in order to fill a space
Yeah.
in their albums. And a few people made a good living out of honest forgery, shall we say, and both types of forgery certainly have a place in a well-rounded stamp collection, in our opinion. And we picked two lots, very different lots, and the one I just put under the camera is the most historically interesting British forgery, and it's called the Stock Exchange forgery. So what you'll see here is a shilling green stamp used on a fragment of a telegraph form used at the London Stock Exchange in 1872. It took, I don't know, I think around 20 years before it was discovered that many of these telegraph forms which had been thrown away and stored and eventually sold to a stamp dealer, that they were actually forgeries. They don't have watermarks in the paper. The printing is slightly poorer than the real thing, which we have an example here. It turns out that somebody who was working in the telegraph office in the London Stock Exchange was swapping out genuine shilling stamps for fake ones and presumably selling the genuine shilling stamps elsewhere at a discount. And it's the perfect crime, because to this day we don't know who was putting these things onto the telegraph forms. And for a bit of fun, we also have a genuine stamp, the same letters, used only a couple of weeks apart, and one can only surmise that the perpetrator of the forgeries wasn't there that day, and a genuine one was used. This, I think, might be the only forgery listed by Stanley Gibbons in the Specialised Catalogue. It's so famous.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Andy's going to put something completely different under the camera now.
One of the most unusual early colonial stamps were the cameo heads of the Gambia in West Africa. Now, this is a remarkable collection, and it's done with a lot of skill and artwork to illustrate the characteristics of genuine and forgeries of these issues. They go from the first imperforate issues all the way up to the perforated ones on the watermark paper. As you can see, he's done these beautiful pen and ink illustrations with annotations here on how to identify them. It also includes in this album several genuine examples. And we have the work of Spiro and Fournier and various other ones from the period. Most of these were done in the early days of collecting, and they're not bad. And you know, you either get them with the actual heads embossed like on the issued stamps. These I think are typical Spyros here, you get them in the multiples. Often the giveaway is the type of cancellations like these grid of squares and oval types and so on. More again. That one's even got the word imitation printed on it. No fooling anybody there. He's written here, this is by Erie, Forgery #1, and he's written rather bumpy as opposed to the fairly smooth embossing.
Erie was the guy who wrote, he was a reverend, wasn't he? And
he did.
He wrote the first big guide on forgeries called Album Weeds.
That's right, published by Stanley Gibbons in what, the 1880s?
Yeah,
it was quite early on.
Yeah.
More shades and so on here. And then you have a genuine example there of a nice red Gambia CDS against a forgery.
That looks great, doesn't it?
It is. On to the sixpennies. And it goes on and on. There's a lot of it. Some here with impressed watermarks to try and fool people. Fresher prints.
Yeah, the forgers
Genuine
would impress watermarks into
That's
paper
right,
in the
yeah.
traditional way, or they'd add them using sort of oil or something into the paper to fake the look of a watermark.
These ones here, heavier embossing. They really could fool you if you don't know what you're looking at.
I've never seen so many in one place.
It's remarkable how he's assembled so many and written them up. And you've got the perforated types there. I mean, anybody who knows these can see straight away that the perforations are a much larger gauge than the issue one. He says there's a perf 10, whereas it should be perf 14. And then you've got the genuine and the forgery side by side there, and the shades. There's even bogus threepenny surcharges there.
I'm just looking at the description. It's lot 563.
Yeah.
And it's got over 180 forgeries and stamps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it concludes with this bogus key plate type there. Some fake cancels on the Edward VII again. It's good fun.
Oh, there we go. Two completely different lots of forgeries.
Yeah.
A lot of those.
Talking of forgeries.
Yes.
You're not Andrew, sat in that chair.
You've grown so tall, Vincent.
Hope you enjoyed those.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.